Welcome back, and joining me now, Shadow Defence Minister Angus Taylor. Angus, thank you very much for your time. Now, you heard what Netanyahu had to say earlier this hour. He pulled no punches in his assessment of the Albanese government's approach to diplomacy, and he blamed Australia for the diplomatic tensions. He put it down to Albanese lacking in conviction since October 7. Do you agree with him?
Well, can I congratulate you on that interview, Sharri? And can I say that what we have seen from Australia, from the government, of course the Labor government, is a shameful moral fail on the premature recognition of Palestine. This was the wrong decision. It's rewarding terrorists, and it was an act of weakness by Albanese as he capitulated to the ideological left in his party, rather than doing what we know is right, which is waiting for the preconditions that are necessary for a two-state solution, which we all want to see. I mean, I thought Netanyahu was very thoughtful on his comments on the path forward from here and the Abraham Accords and the importance of those. This is the process we all want to see towards peace, but there's preconditions for peace, and a key one is to not have terrorists running Gaza, not have Hamas in control, and we are not there yet.
Oh, and it seems pretty sensible. And this is one of the great contradictions of the Albanese government's position, is that they say Hamas can have no future role in the governing of Gaza, but then in the same breath, they call for Israel to withdraw from Gaza. So there's no clarity around how they think the terrorists will be defeated. I mean, your shadow defence minister, there's no other way to remove Hamas, is there, except through a military option?
Well, it's fantasy land, Sharri. The idea that Hamas would have no role at this point if Israel completely withdrew, I think is fanciful. It's just not right. I mean, they are terrorists, they are brutal, they are monsters, as Netanyahu put it. They behead men and rape women, and it's completely unacceptable to have them in a position where they're not only still militarised, they are in a position where they can play a very influential role in any future government of Gaza at this point. So those preconditions need to be met. Hamas needs to be out of the way. We need to have agreed borders and so on. These are preconditions that have been understood for a long while. Albanese threw them all away. He's capitulated to the left of his party. He is weak. He's long been weak on these issues, and sadly, I think the result of that, we're seeing, there's real risks that we're going to see more extremism in this country as well.
So in capitulating to the left of his party, as you put it, do you then agree with Netanyahu that it is Albanese who has recklessly risked the long-standing Israel-Australia friendship?
Well, we all want to see peace in the Middle East, and Benjamin Netanyahu made that very clear in your interview with him. But we're not going to get there by capitulating to terrorists. And the demand from Albanese that Israel do that, I think, is completely unacceptable. And I can understand why Israel is upset about that, because it's unrealistic, it's not going to work, and it's not the right answer. And sadly, it's clear where this government is going, and it's joined with a bunch of left-wing governments from around the world in making what I think is a really poor decision, and history will hold it out to have been a very poor decision as well.
So Israel is currently proceeding with its plans to, I mean, he says it's not occupy Gaza, but to take over Gaza City, at least temporarily, to rid it of Hamas terrorists. We're seeing the troops move in, as we speak. Now, Netanyahu argues that this needs to happen to eliminate all the terrorists, also to return the hostages. Do you think this step is necessary?
Well, I'm not an expert on Israel's military strategy, and I don't pretend to be. What I will say, Sharri, is that Israel has every right to defend itself against what were truly brutal attacks. The hostages have not been released, and that, of course, is another critical precondition. And Hamas is still in an influential position. So self-defence is a reasonable position for Israel to be taking. I think we must continue towards trying to find a two-state solution. That is the right answer. But the reality is we are not there yet, and you can understand a pragmatic approach that Israel is needing to take.
In terms of the Australian government's policy position, I mean, do you think this is truly one of the lowest points in Australian government foreign policy history to have a designated terrorist group applauding your moves and your ally, the only democratic state in the Middle East, basically calling you out for being weak and lacking conviction?
Well, it is a shameful moral fail, and I feel that as an Australian. I think it is truly shameful, and the government has simply got it wrong. And of course, Albanese's come out and been deeply critical of Netanyahu for criticising him. Well, you know what? The Labor Party has never held to a convention that leaders from around the world shouldn't criticise leaders in Australia. I remember very well when Macron was deeply critical of Scott Morrison when he was Prime Minister, and the Labor Party egged it on. I mean, the double standards in what we're seeing from Albanese right now are truly extraordinary. I think what we should be continuing to push for is peace. Yep. The best way to get to peace is through strength, as Netanyahu rightly puts it, and that means ridding Gaza of Hamas, the influence of Hamas, of these terrible terrorists, these monsters, exactly. And trying to get back to a stable situation, which we all want to see.
So much common sense. Angus Taylor, thank you very much for joining us.